herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SE Talk. Wieder eine neue Firma. Wie gesagt, es tut sich extrem viel in Vancouver. Neue Firmen kommen. Der Markt ist viel aktiver, als wie ich es gewohnt war. Und daher habe ich jetzt eine neue Firma, Chakana, Kupfer. Und David Kelley er ist President, US President and CEO. I see it without my glasses. Yes. Yeah, for sure it's in your name. You are looking for copper. But this is a start interview, and we have not too much clue about your company. Can you give us the 1 minute or the 30-second elevator pitch?
Sure. Yeah, like you said, Chakana copper, it's actually a really interesting story because we have a lot of gold and silver with this particular deposit. It's not usual to have the concentration of those three metals, but we have a high-grade copper, gold, silver tourmaline brecciapite project in the Central Andes. It's at an elevation of about 4,000 meters. It's north of Peru, and it's in an established mining district. And that's really a really important aspect of any exploration project, is to be in a part of a country where, number one, they have a really good, solid mining law, but also in an area where mining is accepted practice. It's an accepted industry. It means that the communities generally are more engaged in that and benefiting from the activities in mining. We are on our third year since we started the company. We were private for 1 year and public for the last 2. We've drilled 30,000 meters to date on this project, which is a really aggressive exploration program for a junior company. And that's taking us up to this year, where we plan to drill another 15,000 meters. And at the culmination of that drilling program would be the initial resource that we would put out, quantifying the amount of copper, gold, and silver that's in this deposit.
You say high-grade copper, gold, silver. What's mean for you high grade?
That's a great question. I mean, we see really exceptional grades in parts of the deposit. Overall, the mineralization is averaging around 1% copper, about 2 grams gold, and about 65 grams silver, in one of the brecciapipes where we've done the most drilling. Each pipe's a little bit different. Some of the grades are higher in some pipes and lower in other pipes, but that's the one brecciapipe where we've done the most drilling. That's the kind of grades we're talking about.
You say that's pipes, so normally from somewhere the source is coming. Do you looking only for these pipes, or do you looking also for the source of these pipes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now we're just focused on the brecciapipes themselves, and the reason for that is that they're numerous. We have over 23 brecciapipes to date identified on the property at surface. So these things stick out of the ground, okay? So they're really obvious targets. They're high grade, they're fairly close together, and our view is that if we can drill out enough of these brecciapipes that have the kind of grades we're talking about, then that could create an initial resource that could be developed in Peru. We see other high-grade copper or precious metal mines in Peru that are developed on, tonnages in the 10 to 15 million ton range. And so we know if we can produce a quality resource with those kind of grades, it potentially could become a mine in Peru. But you're right, there is a source to these brecciapipes. We don't really know too much about what that source is, but some speculate that it could be a mineralized intrusion. And certainly as we're collecting our information and analyzing our data, we're always thinking in the background, where are these metals coming from, and is there another potential much bigger target out there? And I certainly consider that is the case.
Okay, you say you plan 15,000 more meters to drill. What is the normal depth what you drill, so that we can say how many holes you will drill around? What is the focus? You say you have identified 25 purchases?
23, yeah.
23.
Yeah.
And so far, how many you drill so far from this?
Yeah.
And what is the focus this year?
Yeah, so we've tested 7 out of the 23 so far, and that's only been in a part of the property. Our drill permit that we started with when we came into the project only allowed us to drill in one part of the property. We've expanded the size of the mineral rights. We've tripled it in size since we started, and we've been going through the regulatory process of expanding our drill permit to go in, to coincide with our mineral rights. And so the program we're about to initiate this year is going to be in a different part of the property that we've never drilled before. It's on some very, very attractive targets, very similar to what we've already drilled, and that's where some of my confidence and enthusiasm comes from. Is I know what we've started with and what results we received from that drilling, and we have every bit as good and in some cases even better targets that haven't been drill tested yet. So that really makes me excited to think about that. In terms of depths, the deepest hole we've drilled has been over 900 meters, but normally our depths are anywhere from 500 meters to 150 meters depth, because it's actually a pipe. They're pipe-like bodies, and so we actually need to drill across the breccia pipe at multiple elevations in order to create the geometry and understand the nature of the breccia body as it goes to depth.
Understandable. So that's mean you wait now for the permitting, and then you will drill the other side of the. Do you any geophysics on it?
Yeah, we do. In fact, we're just now expanding our geophysics. I mentioned how we expanded our mineral rights, and now we're expanding our surface exploration coverage, and starting next week we'll be initiating a ground magnetics survey over the entire property. We have some magnetics in a small part of the property, but we'll be catching that up, and that'll give us a much better understanding of the overall geology, and in particular the structure and how those structures might control the location of these breccia pipes. We'll be following that up a little bit later in the season, starting probably around early May, with an induced polarization IP, and that's an electrical method. We're in the rainy season now. It's a little safer to push that back, and that data will fill a gap between the original property that we had and all of this new ground that we've picked up. So we'll have continuous coverage of magnetics and IP geophysics once we finish these two surveys. Now you might wonder why we're drilling while we're doing the geophysical surveys. The targets we're drilling now are targets that crop out at surface. You can stand on these. You can sample them. They're really obvious features. In one of our early drill holes, we actually intercepted a blind breccia pipe that doesn't come to surface, and it sits right beside one that does come to surface. So we already know that there are blind breccia pipes. In addition to the 23 that we have at surface, we know that there are blind breccia pipes there, and having these geophysical methods are really key for us being able to identify these additional targets beyond the 23 targets.
How big is the area what we talk?
The property position is just over 3,000 hectares.
And the breccias are?
They range in size from a small size of about a 25 meter diameter up to the largest breccia that we will be testing in the next program when we start up. It's 200 meters wide with 5 breccia bodies within that zone by about 75 to 100 meters, more of an oval shape type of feature.
Okay.
So I would say the pipes so far probably average about 50 to 60 meters in diameter, with a smallest size of 25 and a largest size up to 200 by 100.
Exploration, normally very expensive. So that brings me to the financial side of the company. How much cash you have at the moment in the bank? How you finance, is this cash enough to finance the exploration program? And third is then, how many shares are outstanding, and where are the biggest shareholder groups you have?
Okay. So right now we have a treasury of 7.6 million in the bank, Canadian, and so we're really healthy. We're not looking to raise money right now. That will carry that actually will cover this program that we're talking about, the geophysics, the 15,000 meters of drilling, and the initial resource. We will likely do a financing somewhere during the year, when the markets are looking good, and hopefully after we've gotten some some traction with our results coming out from this next wave of drilling. It's worth pointing out that our biggest shareholder is Goldfields, and the money we have in our treasury was the result of an $8 million private placement that they put in last year. They own a 16% interest in the company. They actually made that investment at 51 cents a share when we were trading at about 40 cents a share. And that was after a very thorough and very exhaustive due diligence period involving all their technical disciplines in the company, financial, social, legal, that type of thing. They were very methodical in their approach, and they're a great partner to have. They're already an operator in Peru. They mine the Cerro Corona mine, very capable Peruvian team, and they're really excited about the upside potential on this project. And getting back to your question about what's the source of the metals in these breccia pipes, they see huge potential in this project, and we're excited really to have them as a partner. We have 93 million outstanding shares to date, so it's certainly a reasonable number. We also have other institutional shareholders: U.S. Global, Sprott, Osisco, Macquarie Bank is another institutional investor. So we've been very successful since the start. We've raised $30 million since we started the company, and having that private placement from Goldfields was huge, not only for bringing in cash at an attractive price to minimize dilution, but also to bring in a really competent partner that can help us aggressively explore the property.
Management hold in the company, how much?
Yeah, management is about 16%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a very healthy percentage, and I'm happy with the structure and where we sit now. And I'm certainly looking forward to spending that money that's in the treasury to aggressively complete this next drill program.
So to summarize a little bit, so you have 23 projects, what you see on the surface. You drill so far only 7. You are for this kind of high grade, so that's mean 1% copper, 2 grams gold, you say, and 30 grams silver.
30 to 60 silver, yeah.
So this year is your plan, you drill the other ones, you wait for the permitting, or you expand your permitting before you make a little bit geophysics, so that you understand a little bit better the ore bodies and find new targets. And then you will drill 15,000 meters this year. Money is not problem. You have over 7 million in the bank. Then one of your biggest shareholder, Goldfields, invest last year 8 million.
Yeah.
This is in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's right. Now, it's important to point out this next 15,000 meters is going to be targeted on our highest priority targets or breccia pipes in this new area that we've acquired. And I estimate we'll test 4 or 5 additional pipes. So we've got 23 total. We've tested 7. 4 are strongly mineralized. And then we'll test another 4 or 5 pipes. Pick the best 2 or 3 out of that and do the most drilling on those. Take that data with what we've already drilled, the 30,000 meters, and put that together to form the initial resource. But even beyond this drilling program this year, we still will only have tested, roughly half of the targets on the property.
So if I understand you right, so after this 15,000 meters program, you work on an additional resource calculation?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
The initial maiden resource for the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ja, thank you for the introduction in your company. Ja, war eine sehr spannende Einführung zu den Unternehmen. Was gibt es da zu sagen? Also erstens mal Peru. Zweitens einmal, das sind Pipes, das sind ein Schlund, wo quasi das Erz an die Oberfläche dringt. Davon haben sie 23. Es gibt nur versteckte solche Schlunde, die man an der Oberfläche nicht sieht. Das sieht man dann in der Geophysik. Und davon haben sie aber erst 7 gebohrt. Sie haben hochgradig Kupfer, Gold und Silber drinnen, was sehr ungewöhnlich ist, dass man alle 3 Metalle in einem hat. Heuer wollen sie 15.000 pro Meter bei den neuen, bei den verbleibenden 23 Schlunden bohren. Und was extrem spannend ist, einer der größten Aktionäre ist Goldfield. Die haben letztes Jahr 8 Millionen investiert bei 51 Cent, wo der Sharepreis nur 40 Cent gestanden ist, nach einer extrem starken Due Diligence. Und das zeigt, wie viel Erwartungen da drinnen sind in diesem Projekt. Und Geld ist kein Problem. Sie haben über 7 Millionen noch am Konto und damit sind sie heuer ausfinanziert. Allerdings sagen sie, wenn natürlich der Preis passt, dann werden sie irgendwo im Laufe des Jahres einmal Private Placement machen. Aber extrem spannend, vor allem Aktionärstruktur wäre sehr interessant, Projekt sehr interessant. Goldfields hat nicht umsonst dort investiert und heuer könnten natürlich dort ein paar ganz große neue Targets kommen und am Ende dieses Prozesses steht dann die erste Ressourcenschätzung. Und die wird dann richtig spannend, weil dann haben wir irgendwas Handgreifliches da. Ja, das war's vom Unternehmen im Jänner 2020 aus Vancouver. Tschüss und Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you.